Another weekend of Formula 2 action then, and it starts on Thursday with qualifying. Bearman made a disappointment in Bahrain, jubilance in Jeddah for the Prema team as well. He took pole position for the feature race come Saturday, but on Friday morning it was announced that he would be driving in the Ferrari, replacing Carlos Sainz, who had appendicitis. Now, in days gone by, we had drivers like Jim Clark, Sterling Moss, famously doing Formula 2 and Formula 1 on the same weekend. But the FIA then introduced a rule midway through the 1990s that any driver that participates in Formula 1 can only do Formula 1 on weekends, then Formula 2 and Formula 3. So you can't move around different types of series. So sadly, he wasn't allowed to compete in F2, was withdrawn from the weekend, and subsequently, despite having a 10th place in the Formula 1 standings, he now has no points at all in the Formula 2 standings, despite getting 3 points for pole, because he was physically removed from the weekend. That gave pole for Saturday, to Kushmini. But we'll start on Friday with the sprint race. Antonelli, of course, Bearman's teammate, had a slow start. Martins went into the wall at turn number 1 on the opening lap, brought out a safety car, hit the wall on his own. O'Sullivan, Colapinto, they both stalled on the line as well, resulting in nearly a red flag, but they had to bring the safety car out. These new clutch systems not working well again in Formula 2. Hauger and Hauger battled for several laps, well over podium positions. Cordial stalled after a spin at turn number 1 as well at the exit, tried to loop it back around, stalled the engine. Again, the clutches, that brought out another safety car. Crawford raced hard and made a move down the inside line in turn 22. They're one of the fastest points on the track. Fantastic move, didn't go in the wall either. Hauger had an engine tech issue, retired on lap 19 of the race. Richard Verschoor dominated throughout as well. Great moves around the outside to take the lead. He won this race, but was disqualified for technical non-conformity. So that promoted Dennis Hauger to the win. Paul Aron finished in second position, the Mercedes, ex-Mercedes driver as well. He's looking for another academy driver. So far, has been on the podium in every single race so far this year. Enzo Fittipaldi finished in third position. Then it's moving on to the feature, and this is where it gets a little bit bizarre as well, because it was a strange situation with Maiden starting on pole position, of course, after Bearman was removed from the weekend, but he was then got a great start. Jose Maria Marti crashed on his own. He spun it out of turn 1, lost the rears. He collected Roman Stanek and then blamed Stanek for the whole incident. That brought out the safety car. That allowed those on the soft tyres who started to pit to mediums. The race then was split into a sort of 2-horse duel between those who stayed on the mediums on older tyres and those who just shot over from the ultra softs to the mediums. So it was a weird one. Colapinto spun at turn 1 on lap 15, stalled the car, getting the clutches. That caused a safety car, but the perfect timing for the top 3 who were on old medium tyres and could make it to lap 28 if they pitted for ultra softs. Now, the top 3 at the time were Correa, Cordial and Barnard. Cordial and Barnard did swap over. Correa didn't though, saying it would be better to wait for maybe another safety car. That never happened. In the end, sadly, because of the tyre temperatures as well in the ultras, all 3 of them ended up losing points paying positions. Hauger retired on the same technical issue he did in the sprint race, so he has no points at all for this weekend. And this time, Fittipaldi on the restart had the best tyres and was in the best strategy, carved his way from 6th up to the lead on lap 22. A 3-wide move round the outside at turn 1 on Cordial and Correa brilliantly taken the lead, and then the win at the track where in 2021 he was hospitalised for a massive start line incident which broke his back. The top 3 then was Fittipaldi, Maney and Hauger, meaning that going into the next race, Maloney still leads the title, but Enzo Fittipaldi is chasing him down. We'll be at Albert Park in Melbourne for the next race. We hope to join you there.
Thank you for that, Josh. And I have to say, I know we have very strong feelings here on this show about, in the NASCAR world, Cup drivers running Xfinity. I have to say, from my perspective, I have no issue with Xfinity drivers running a Cup race here or there if they get that opportunity. So I think if you apply the same analogy to the Formula ladder, I think it would make perfect sense in my mind for an F2 driver who gets an F1 call-up, especially last minute like that, to still be able to run the F2 race. I know Oliver Bearman was certainly exhausted from the F1 race and the distance that he's not used to yet, needing some assistance to get out of the car. And it certainly does take a lot of energy out of you. These guys are athletes, no doubt. But especially given the championship implications that this could have had, even if Bearman didn't win this weekend, it still was a nice haul of points that he missed out on. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes back to play a role in this championship battle here in Formula 2. I would personally like to see that rule reevaluated, but we'll have to wait and see the FIA, I think, have some much more pressing matters on their hands going on right now with everything happening behind the scenes in Formula One. So this is probably a little bit lower on their priority list, but nonetheless, it is something I would like to see reevaluated.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the rule there that you can't be in both formulas in the same weekend. I had no idea that was a thing, but it makes a lot of sense. But of course, Clark back in the day, he mentioned could easily do that, which baffles me or surprises me that was even possible.
Yeah, well, and again, if it were a matter of Lewis Hamilton wanting to run the F2 race or Max Verstappen wanting to run the F2 race, then of course that doesn't make a lot of sense in my mind. But in this situation here, Oliver Bearman had 24 hours, I think, to get ready for. I mean, not even 24 hours to get ready to qualify, and then get ready to race 24 hours after that. So, again, interesting sort of dynamic there, especially when you consider the championship implications. But we'll keep an eye on that.